They say success has 1,000 fathers. But failure? Failure is an orphan. 3 months ago, I was nobody. Today, fashion magazines are calling me a thief, a fraud, a fake, and the man who made me. He's nowhere to be found. But let me tell you how it really happened. How one collection changed everything. And how I learned that in the fashion world, your biggest supporter can become your deadliest enemy. My name is Sophia Chen. I was just a scholarship girl from Queens with impossible dreams. Then I met Alexander Volkov, a mysterious Russian billionaire who offered me everything I'd ever wanted. Complete creative control. Unlimited budget. My own fashion house. All I had to do was sign a contract. And trust him completely. I thought I was the luckiest girl alive. What I didn't know was that Alexander Volkov never makes investments. He makes acquisitions. And I had just become his newest property. Alexander kept his promises. My new atelier was a palace. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Seine. Italian marble floors. The finest equipment money could buy. I had 12 seamstresses. Each one more skilled than professors at fashion school. But palaces can feel like prisons. Especially when you know someone else holds the key. Alexander hired my entire team. My assistant, Marie, spoke 5 languages and had worked for Chanel. My head seamstress, Gabriella, had sewn for Italian royalty. My pattern maker, Hans, was German precision incarnate. They were perfect. Too perfect. Good morning, everyone, I said, trying to project confidence I didn't feel. Today we begin something extraordinary. Marie handed me a tablet. Our budget appeared on screen. 2 million euros. For one collection. My throat went dry. I'd never seen so many zeros. Miss Chen, Hans said in his methodical way, we need to discuss timeline. Fashion Week is in 8 weeks. For a debut collection of this caliber, we typically need 12 weeks minimum. 8 weeks. To create magic. To prove I deserve to be here. Then we don't sleep, I said. Gabriella laughed. It wasn't cruel, but it wasn't kind either. Kara, sleep is not luxury we can afford. But talent? Talent cannot be rushed. Was that a compliment or a warning? I threw myself into designing like my life depended on it. Because it did. Alexander called every morning at exactly 9 a.m. Never to check on me. Always to check on his investment. How is progress, little designer? Good. Great. The sketches are coming together beautifully. Sketches are just dreams on paper, Sophia. I need reality. I need perfection. The line went dead. He always hung up first. My grandmother used to say that pressure makes diamonds. But pressure also breaks things. I was about to find out which one I was. I called my team together. My hands shook as I unveiled my sketches. 12 pieces. Each one a love letter to everything I'd learned about luxury. The silence stretched forever. Finally, Gabriella spoke. These are beautiful. But? I prompted. But they are safe, Hans added. Very competent. Very expected. My heart sank. Safe was the kiss of death in fashion. Marie leaned forward. With respect, Miss Chen, these designs could come from any luxury house. Where is Sophia Chen? Where is your voice? That night, I tore up every sketch. Started over. Went deeper. Got dangerous. The breakthrough came at 3 a.m. I was exhausted. Defeated. Ready to call Alexander and surrender. Then I looked out my window at Paris sleeping below. All those lights. All those dreams. I thought about my grandmother's sewing machine. The one that taught me magic could come from broken places. What if I made luxury from memories? What if I took the pain of being poor and turned it into beauty for the rich? I sketched until sunrise. Pieces that told stories. A ball gown inspired by my mother's work uniforms but made from silk that cost more per yard than she earned in a week. A blazer cut like my father's abandoned jacket but tailored from the finest Italian wool. Jewelry that looked like subway tokens but was crafted from platinum and diamonds. When my team saw the new designs, everything changed. Now this, Gabriella whispered, this is revolution. Creating the actual pieces was war. Every stitch had to be perfect. Every seam had to sing. We worked 18-hour days. My fingers bled. My eyes burned. My assistant brought me coffee every hour and food I never ate. The pressure was crushing everyone. Hans quit. I begged him to stay. Offered him double salary. He looked at me with something that might have been pity. Money cannot buy time, Miss Chen. And we do not have enough of either. He was right. But I couldn't stop. Stopping meant admitting I wasn't worthy of Alexander's investment. Stopping meant going back to Queens with nothing but debt and shame. Alexander sent the models. I had no say in casting. They arrived like an army of perfection. 6 feet tall. Impossible cheekbones. Eyes that had seen everything and cared about nothing. The lead model was Katerina Petrov. Russian. Beautiful as winter and twice as cold. "So you are the little designer everyone whispers about," she said, looking me up and down like I was merchandise. "I'm Sophia Chen. I know who you are. Question is, do you know who you are?" Before I could ask what she meant, she was gone. Models I was learning spoke in riddles and moved like ghosts. The last week before the show was chaos. 3 pieces weren't finished. 2 models had the flu. 1 dress split during final fitting. I hadn't slept in 36 hours. I looked like death and felt worse. I locked myself in the bathroom and cried. Really cried. For the first time since signing Alexander's contract. In the mirror, I didn't recognize myself. When had I become so thin? So hollow-eyed? So desperate? My phone buzzed. Text message. Unknown number. Some dreams are nightmares in disguise. Be careful who you trust. A friend. A friend? I had no friends. Not anymore. Success had isolated me completely. The morning of the show, Paris felt different. Electric. Dangerous. Fashion Week was sacred time in this city. Careers were made or destroyed in 15 minutes on a runway. Alexander arrived at my atelier at 8 a.m. He looked like money personified. Armani suit. Swiss watch. Confidence that came from owning everything you touched. "Today, little designer, we see if you are worth my investment." "And if I'm not?" His smile was arctic. "Then we renegotiate our arrangement." The way he said it made my blood freeze. This wasn't just about money. This was about ownership. Of my work. Of my future. Of me. Backstage was controlled chaos. Hair and makeup artists worked like surgeons. Models transformed from beautiful women into living works of art. My designs hung on racks like sleeping dreams waiting to wake up. I checked every piece obsessively. Adjusted every strap. Smoothed every seam. Gabriella had to physically stop me from making changes. "Kara, at some point you must trust your vision. The pieces are perfection. Now we pray the world sees what we see." Isabella Moreau appeared beside me like smoke. The fashion editor who had first noticed me at that salon. "Nervous?" she asked. "Terrified," I admitted. "Good. Terror makes artists honest. And honesty is what fashion has been missing." She leaned closer. "But be careful, Sherry. Success makes enemies. And you are about to have many." When the first model stepped onto that runway, time stopped. My subway token earrings caught the lights like captured stars. The audience leaned forward. I could feel their attention like heat. Piece after piece, my collection told its story. Poverty transformed into luxury. Pain refined into beauty. Every model was a chapter in my journey from nothing to everything. The final dress was my masterpiece. Katerina wore it like armor made of dreams. Hand-beaded with crystals arranged like my grandmother's sewing machine stitches. It caught every light in the room and threw it back as magic. When she reached the end of the runway, the silence was absolute. Then someone started clapping. Then everyone was clapping. Then they were standing. Screaming. Crying. I had done it. I had actually done it. The next hour was a blur of congratulations and champagne. Fashion editors surrounded me like hungry birds. Everyone wanted quotes. Everyone wanted to be associated with success. "Sophia, darling. This was magnificent. Where did you study? Who taught you? Are you taking interviews? My magazine would love to feature you." Isabella found me in the crowd. Her expression was unreadable. "You have done something very dangerous tonight," she said. "What do you mean?" "You have shown them something new. something they did not expect. The fashion world forgives many things, but it never forgives surprise. Before I could ask what she meant, Alexander appeared. His smile was proprietary, possessive. "My little designer has exceeded expectations," he announced to everyone nearby. "This is just the beginning of our partnership." Our partnership. The way he said it made me sound like junior partner in my own success. By midnight, the congratulations started mixing with whispers. I caught fragments of conversations as people thought I wasn't listening. "The designs are beautiful, but do they seem familiar to you? I swear I've seen that silhouette before. Maybe in an old Balenciaga sketch." Where exactly did she study? Institut Français doesn't usually produce this level of sophistication. And who is this Russian investor? No one knows anything about him. My champagne tasted like ash. The celebration felt like a funeral. My funeral. I woke up in my atelier, still in my dress from the night before. My head pounded from champagne and adrenaline crash. For 30 seconds I felt pure joy. Then I remembered the whispers. My phone had exploded. Hundreds of messages. Interview requests. Collaboration offers. For a moment I thought maybe I'd imagined the negativity. Then I saw the missed calls from Alexander. 15 of them. Between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. My blood went cold. He never called that early unless something was wrong. He was waiting in my office, behind my desk, like he owned it. Which, technically, he did. "We need to talk," he said without preamble. About what? The show was a success. Everyone loved the collection. Everyone except the people who matter. He slid a tablet across the desk. Fashion blogs were already analyzing my show. Most were positive. Glowing, even. But a few were asking questions. "Where has Sophia Chen been hiding?" He read aloud. "These designs show sophistication that typically takes decades to develop. How does a scholarship student from Queens create museum-quality work in 3 months?" My stomach dropped. They're just curious about my background. Curiosity killed more than cats, little designer. It kills careers. He stood and walked to the window. "There will be more questions. More scrutiny. Are you prepared for that level of attention?" "I have nothing to hide." He turned back to me. His expression was almost sympathetic. "Almost. Everyone has something to hide, Sophia. The question is, will yours destroy us both?" That afternoon, Thomas Beaumont appeared at my atelier like a ghost from my past. He looked exactly the same. Handsome. Confident. Dangerous. "I saw the show," he said, running his fingers along one of my jackets. "Extraordinary work." "Thank you. But that's not why I'm here." He turned to face me fully. "People are talking, Sophia. Important people. And not all of it is good." My heart sank. "What kind of talk?" "The kind that ends careers before they begin. Someone is spreading rumors. Saying your designs aren't original. That you had help. Unauthorized help. That's ridiculous. Every piece came from my imagination." "I believe you. But belief isn't fact in this industry. Perception is reality." He stepped closer. Too close. "I can help you. I have connections. People who owe me favors. But..." He paused. "You'd have to trust me. Completely." Why did everyone want me to trust them completely? And why did complete trust always feel like complete surrender? That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Thomas's warning. Someone was spreading rumors. But who? And why? I spent hours online, looking at old collections, comparing silhouettes, searching for any similarity to my designs. The paranoia was eating me alive. At 3 a.m. I found it. A single sketch in an obscure fashion archive. From a 1960s Balenciaga collection that never went to production, the neckline was similar to one of my dresses. Not identical, but similar enough. My hands shook as I studied the image. Had I unconsciously copied it? Had I seen it somewhere and forgotten? Or was this exactly what someone wanted me to find? The next morning, Marie was waiting in my office. Her usual composed demeanor was cracked. She looked frightened. Miss Chen, we need to discuss something urgent. What is it? Yesterday, after the show, a journalist approached me. He was asking questions about your design process. Specifically, he wanted to know if you had access to private archives, historical sketches, unreleased collections. My blood turned to ice. What did you tell him? Nothing. But he already knew things. About your schedule. About the materials we ordered. About the seamstresses we hired. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Someone with inside access is feeding him information. Who? I don't know. But whoever it is, they know everything about your operation. Everything. The betrayal felt like a physical blow. Someone in my own team was sabotaging me. But who? And why? The article went live at exactly noon on Thursday. Fashion Telegraph. The most influential fashion blog in Europe. The headline made me physically sick. Stolen Dreams. The Sophia Chen Plagiarism Scandal. The article was devastating. Side-by-side comparisons of my designs with historical pieces. Similar silhouettes. Comparable proportions. The writer, someone named Marcus Thornfield, had done his homework. But the worst part wasn't the accusations. It was how detailed they were. He knew things only someone with intimate knowledge of my process could know. He knew about the 3 a.m. breakthrough. About the sketches I'd destroyed. About my inspiration sources. Someone close to me had betrayed me completely. Alexander arrived within an hour of the article going live. But he wasn't angry. He was calm. Too calm. Sit down, Sophia. I sat. I had no choice. This is unfortunate, he said, reading the article on his phone. Very unfortunate indeed. It's all lies. I never plagiarized anything. Of course not. But lies can be more powerful than truth. Especially when they're well-researched lies. He looked at me with something that might have been pity. The question now is damage control. How do we save your career? How do we protect my investment? We fight back. We prove the accusations are false. He laughed. It was a terrible sound. Sweet child. You still don't understand how this world works. Truth doesn't matter. Only power matters. And right now, someone with more power than you wants you destroyed. Who? That is the million-euro question, isn't it? He stood to leave, then paused at the door. Don't worry, little designer. I always protect my investments. But protection comes with a price. And that price just went up considerably. After Alexander left, I sat alone in my atelier. The space that had felt like a palace now felt like a tomb. Everything I'd worked for was crumbling. That's when I noticed it. Alexander's briefcase. He'd left it behind. Probably accidentally. Or maybe not so accidentally. Inside, I found documents. Financial records. Communication logs. And correspondence with Marcus Thornfield, the journalist who had written the article destroying my career. The payments started 3 weeks before my show. Regular installments. The final payment was scheduled for today, the day after the article went live. Alexander hadn't just failed to protect me from the scandal. He had orchestrated it. But why? Why build me up just to tear me down? Then I found the final document. A contract amendment. If my reputation was damaged beyond repair, all rights to my designs would revert to him. Permanently. For a fraction of their actual value. I wasn't just his investment. I was his puppet. And he had been pulling the strings from the very beginning. As I sat there, holding the evidence of Alexander's betrayal, my phone rang. Unknown number. Hello. Miss Chen? This is Marcus Thornfield. I think we should meet. There are things you need to know about your Russian investor. Things that could clear your name. But you need to come alone. And you need to come now. The line went dead. I looked at the evidence in my hands. Then at my destroyed reputation online. Then at my empty atelier that no longer felt like home. Alexander had set the perfect trap. But maybe, just maybe, I was about to spring one of my own. Some people say revenge is a dish best served cold. But in the fashion world, revenge is haute couture. Beautiful, expensive, and absolutely devastating. And I was about to become a master designer. I thought Alexander was my savior. Turns out he was my executioner. Marcus said, your investor has done this before. To other designers. Other dreams. But if he wants to play games with my life, then let's see who plays them better. Rival thinks she's weak now. Vulnerable. This is our chance to destroy her completely.